Okay, 3, 2, 1. All right, welcome on back to another edition of the Baltimore Beatdown podcast. It is Friday, April 2nd. My name is Jake Luke, getting things going here after a slight bit of a bumpy takeoff here with some of the audio stuff that we were discussing. Was making a little bit of a Jim Halpert face at my computer. So, not the best start for me here on this Thursday night as we record, but happy to be here with you, bud. It's Spencer Schultz. How's it going?
Doing well, dog. We are into April. It is liar lunch, draft season, mock draft season, draft season, season's pizza. And we're having fun. So I'm excited. Nothing other than the draft coming up. And we've got baseball getting kicked up, Orioles getting rained out, which stunk, but was it rescheduled for tomorrow?
Yeah.
It is because they play Saturday, I think. Yeah. Okay. Yep. So by the time you're listening to this, the Orioles should be playing or about to play, or if you're an early listener. But yeah, life is okay. It's a little rainy. It's a little dreary all around. It feels like it's snowing in Detroit while Miguel Cabrera is hitting beautiful home runs. So it's been a weird time, but it's draft season, so I'm happy as a clam.
Yeah, definitely. It's definitely full swing draft season. It's been a lot of draft content that we've been pumping out. For anyone curious, we are recording this remote tonight on a Thursday, and we are not going to be able to get around to our episode for Tuesday tonight, but we will in between now and then. That one's going to be remote as well. That's going to be the Beatdown Big Board doing interior defensive linemen next week. So we are going to be getting to that, and it is going to come out regularly scheduled on Tuesday. We're just not doing our super recording sesh here on Thursday night because you got some other matters to attend to. So
we will be getting after the defensive linemen for next Tuesday. And my, oh my, if you follow me on Twitter, you know, Aleem McNeil is my fucking dude. He is a beast.
When did that happen, by the way? I feel like you just got really hot for him out of nowhere.
I have seen positive rumblings about him, and I knew that I was going to like him. So maybe I'm a little biased. I knew I was going to like him. I just could tell. And once I really buckled down and started watching, I've been trying to really save myself a good bit, virgin eyes for when we do certain positions. I have not dug into defensive linemen really at all until this week, really dug in and started to crunch through. And I haven't, I was going to watch Davion Nixon today. He's the one that I was going to do today before we recorded, but now that we're recording that later, I'll push him back. But McNeil, man, I'll get into him on that. I don't want to spoil that, but my, oh my, he is a fucking Godzilla beast truck tank. He is a man. He's 40.
Doing a lot there. Little pie oh my shout out too. I imagine you in the stables when it's raining outside and you're petting in Tony Soprano was to pie oh my before it got put down, I think, right?
And then I get a nice portrait of me that gets painted over as a revolutionary man.
Paulie Walnuts gets it refurbished as just a random general or something, and he's keeps it over his fireplace.
See, when he does that, he hates Tony, I think, right? And that's why he does it.
That's the whole thing. He
didn't hate. By the time Tony went into Paulie's, he doesn't hate Tony anymore, I don't think, which is even funnier because Tony's just what the fuck? That's one of the best nuggets of that show and of any show.
Yeah, they've got all these little bits that are sprinkled throughout it that you just kind of you can only pick up on if you're really kind of paying attention, and that's one of the better ones, I think.
Pie oh my, baby.
Interesting start to the show today. But we do of course have a mailbag to get to. We got plenty of questions on.
We haven't done one in a couple weeks.
Yeah, we haven't, at least not in a proper way. We've definitely submitted for listener questions a couple hours prior, but we did it the right way this time around. Shout out questions well beforehand, so we got plenty of them. Starting with Twitter, and we've got Instagram to get to as well. But what do you say we jump into those, bud?
Let's do it.
Cool. So pulling up my notifications, little filibuster here for you. So first one coming from Daniel. Would you prefer we go with an edge in round 1 and wide receiver in round 2, or vice versa? Also, what remaining free agent targets would you say fit the team? I'll start. I prefer wide receiver in round 1, edge in round 2.
I mean, the board gets funny in like the 15 through 25 range. That's where the monkey business starts happening. So it's always really tough to predict.
And they're always right in there.
So the funny money starts happening at like 15, 16, 17. Weird stuff starts to happen. There's like one or two players that you were positive are going to go top 10 that are still there. And then someone scoops them up and you're like, why is this guy falling? How far is this guy falling? But ultimately, edge-wise, the only edges that I really feel like I would like at 27 would be Pay is not going to – I don't think Pay is going to be there. Some people are – John Ledgerd, who loves edge rushers, writes for the Pewter Report covering the Bucks, and people like his edge rankings or whatever. He has Pay as the fourth best edge in this class, and people are all over the place on him. I don't know.
To me, diversified opinions across the board on a lot of these guys. I saw people talking about after Russo struggled a little bit at his pro day, people talking about him being like a day 3 prospect. It's been an interesting season here,
especially for the edges. The edges is hard to place, and like Aguilari is he's a weird player, like a very hard prospect to like. You can't just be like, yeah, like that's the guy. Like, he's really not that big, but he's really strong. He doesn't have inside counters, but he's good against the run for being small. He's just strange. I think the consensus guy is Jalen Phillips. I think the media consensus guy is Jalen Phillips. Everyone knows he is the best pass rusher. I don't think that's up for debate too much. He can win all 3 ways. He had the production. He's a high recruit, was the number 1 player in the nation, whatever. So I think Phillips and Pay are pretty much off the board. And then that leaves like Aguilari and maybe someone likes Basham because he's big and has finesse and, I don't know.
I think he's probably a second round guy that you would be talking about. So if you were to say wide receiver in round 1, I feel like Basham might be that second round guy. Could be wrong.
Yeah. I could see Basham being around like 50 to 60. I would probably think he goes there instead of like 20 to 30 for sure. So you're talking about maybe Basham, maybe Peyton Turner, who I really only watched 2 games. I'm not done watching him still. Definitely going to be on my rewatches. But then Tryon, people fucking hate Tryon. Some people that I follow and like listen to a good bit do not want anything to do with Tryon. But I think that he is such a scheme fit for the Ravens in terms of the athleticism, the effort, the hustle, the open field ability. Some people say he's terrible at setting the edge. I don't think people know what setting the edge is. But yeah, maybe Tryons. Yeah, Rashad Bateman would be ideal. We all love him. Now everyone's like, he's not 210, he's 190. It's like, all right, we thought he was 210 and he looked like he was 210 and he played like he was 210, so he might as well be 210.
Well, it's like you got him in the mix. You got Terrace Marshall probably in the mix. People are like weirdly forgetting about Kadarius Toney at this point. I feel like he might be in striking distance for them there too. He's another guy that I would love. So I don't know, man. I'm just like I've hinted at this before. I'm just tired of like just go all in on defense all the time. And I know they've made some additions. We'll talk about Sammy Watkins plenty here. But it's time to fix the offense. It's time to fix the passing game. If I have to choose between a defensive front prospect and a wide receiver, probably picking the wide receiver every day of the week. Maybe they think differently. That's just what I would do.
Yeah. From our perspective and for our listeners' perspective, probably it would just be fun. It would be exciting.
Yeah, we think that every year. Like literally every year I would probably say that too. But like this year in particular, it feels like it's time to make some changes.
And it's time to end it. It's time to end all this wide receiver crap.
Yeah.
And doing that, you could do that by drafting one in the second round though too.
Yeah, there will be guys. I mean, like if this is the scenario where they go edge 1, receiver 2, depending on who the receiver is, I'm probably going to be fine with that because I think Watkins is like a fine pickup. You got some other guys in the mix now at you got Oliver at tight end. Certainly see what happens, but they're both deep positions in this draft. Wide receiver is edges, so
I think it would send a positive statement as well to pick a receiver, and that you're going to devote. You bring in Williams, you bring in Martin, you bring in Watkins, and you let Snead go. And I think it would just send a nice positive feeling through Lamar, through the fan base, through the organization. And you're talking about extending Lamar. And I think going and getting a receiver in the first round, because one of Marshall, Bateman, or The other guy, these are the three that I really like at the end of the first, and Tony too, I guess. Even I've kind of forgotten about Tony, but throw him in there and Elijah Moore. Like, two of those guys are probably going to be on the board. And I don't think any of them drafting them in the back of the first round is a mistake. I wouldn't think that would be a bad value for those guys. So yeah, I think it would just send a good reverberation of positivity about this offense and Lamar and what you're trying to do moving forward.
Yeah, it's like, you don't want to end up with 4 years down the line, you're having PFT write these like Russell Wilson requesting trade type articles about Lamar Jackson. Like, and that's, I'm not saying that that's the route they're going down, because they have
the Joe Flacco route of, well, he hasn't had a receiver in 4 years, 3 years.
Yeah. It's just, and like Joe had his issues, and like he probably, like was maybe a little more of a limited player after some of the injuries and all that stuff. But to be fair, they didn't invest in him properly either after that Super Bowl. And it kind of would stand to reason to me that like some of this stuff should freak them out a little bit. Some of this Russell Wilson stuff, it should probably spook you a little bit if you're Eric DeCosta, where you're like, all right, well, I've got to, like, if I'm just going to be hitting doubles with these picks, like Hollywood Brown is, maybe a triple, at best. Miles Boykin is like a single. If I'm hitting triples at best, I got to keep investing and like keep trying to figure this thing out, because it might lead to problems down the road.
It's a good problem to have too many receivers. It's not like their line is not desperate anymore. They are going to add offensive linemen. They're probably going to add a tackle. I would say it's highly unlikely that the Ravens go through the 2021 draft without adding a tackle. But
another deep position too.
Another deep position. Those are the best positions are wide receiver and offensive line, and probably DB actually. But edge is weird, but I think there's good later value in the edge position as well. We'll talk about that more. But yeah, let's get the receiver first. Go get a couple. Why don't you go throw 2 darts at that edge position? One of them, probably sticks, hopefully, although that didn't quite work out with Bowser and Tim Williams right away.
Basically what it's come down to for me is like, I want them to throw darts at the positions where there's less certainty. And like, if they have to like spend a season just kind of figuring it out at edge, trying to cobble it together, I'm more confident in their ability to do that, even in the immediate, and like maybe take the loss if you have to. But I feel like they'd figure something out than at wide receiver, just doing that at wide receiver again, because they tried it last year and it didn't really work. So
there's still a lot of edges on the market too. And those guys might not be like Ryan Kerrigan. What does he need to sign right now for? He doesn't need to sign right now. And Clowney never signs right away.
The guy just is addicted to not going to training camp, and
which is so sick. So sick.
Yeah, it's pretty good. I got to give it to him.
Yeah, I don't want Clowney. That ship has sailed for me, but there's still other guys, Ingram and whoever else. But yeah, let's go receiver in the first round, edge second round.
Wooketh Nooketh, seafood or barbecue. Also, that bad man Pollard said he's back. His ass might be getting torched, sadly. Thoughts? Bernard Pollard is not signing anywhere, is my first thought. He's a loudmouth and kind of a dumbass, and he was bad 5 years ago when he was in his early 30s. He's not coming back. And if he does, that's going to be a mega tough scene for our guy Bernard. For me,
good for him. He's running around. He feels frisky. He's putting some cleats on, running around. Good for you.
Yeah, no, good.
Go run around. Whatever.
Yeah, do what you got to do. And like, if you do get signed, then God bless you. And
no one's signing him.
Nobody's. Yeah, you
have to be literally Deion Sanders to like lay off as a DB for a couple years in your mid to late 30s and then go play. And Deion was ridiculous on the Ravens.
Yeah, guess who's like actually worth like that kind of spectacle and like that kind of risk? Deion Sanders. Guess who's not? A guy in Bernard Pollard who was not good as recently as like 2014. Like the last time he played. Now he's just going to come back at age 36. Like,
the game has continued to move away from what he was good at as well.
And all the shit talking he does about my guy Lamar. You want to see him in the open field? Good luck, my friend. That's all I'm going to say about that. And the answer
Bernard was a bad motherfucker on the Ravens.
Listen, I loved him on the Ravens, and it's all the more unfortunate that he has taken an anti-Ravens stance since then. And it is what it is. He said he was willing to play for John Harbaugh. Apparently. It doesn't move the needle for me. This might sound contrary to what I was just saying, but he doesn't even cross my mind. And the answer for me is seafood. I like barbecue.
I forgot about that part.
I like barbecue just fine, but there is a little bit of a stand culture around it that I can't totally relate to yet. I feel like 5-6 years from now, I'm definitely going to be cliche, like white guy in his 30s that has like a green egg and is like super into it. I'm not there yet. And like, I don't like, I get heartburn pretty easily and all that kind of stuff. So I'm
You gotta chew your food better.
Yeah, I definitely do actually have to do that. I ran into an issue with that recently, which was not good. But seafood, yeah, definitely for me. I'm a Maryland guy. Like me some seafood. I like barbecue too.
Maryland's got the pit beef.
They do, yeah. It's the Andy Nelsons. I like it all.
Chaps pit beef, baby. If you haven't, you are not. I promise you are not. I'll give it to you if you're on the Eastern Shore or something, whatever. But if you are from continental Maryland and have not had Chaps pit beef, and you're listening to this podcast, go fuck yourself.
They have plenty of.
Go get some Chaps pit beef.
They got good beef options down there too. Honestly,
they do. There, Andy Nelson's, Jake's Pit.
Yeah, Jake's. I've had that catered before.
That little side of the road jaunt on what is that? Falls Road, I think. Yeah,
sounds right.
Yeah, Maryland's got good seafood, good barbecue. I'm a seafood guy. Shrimp is my favorite. Like, give me shrimp every day. I'm happy.
Shrimp, little scallops. You know, getting into fancy boy territory there, but it's just good, man. Like
scallops, scallops. I'm a real priss about. I need to have like the good crust on a scallop, or I'm pretty prissy.
Yeah, that's kind of where it is. Where like I love barbecue, but I can't eat it every day. I could eat seafood every day, and I love it.
I just ate outlaw barbecue in Hampstead, and it kind of made me sick. I got
it's kind of a gamble. Like it's kind of a gamble. I feel like it's much easier to fuck up.
This is how I like to put things like this. I couldn't live without seafood. I could live without barbecue. Yeah,
I agree. I definitely agree. There is like
I'm a barbecue guy. I like barbecue a lot.
Yeah, me too, for sure. But you know, I'm a seafood boy.
Seafood boys.
Stuart Shock with an interesting one. Who is the worst NFL team that Lamar would turn into a contender?
I don't know, the fucking Jets.
Yeah, actually, with some of the additions they just made too, I feel like he could definitely.
I don't know. I really genuinely think that if you have any sort of remote defense at all, like a top 25 defense, and you have Lamar and you can win 9 games. I think he'll win 9 games right now for literally any team in the NFL.
Yeah, I mean, like a lot of these teams have really good skill positions too, and some have decent offensive lines. Like if he went to the Jaguars right now, they're like 12-4. I think
there's like 10 to 12 quarterbacks I honestly think could take any team to like 9-7.
I kind of look at it from
maybe like 8.
Kind of look at it from maybe.
Excuse me, 9-8. 9-8. That's a new jump off.
Right. Yeah.
9-8 is 9-8 is a meaty boy record. That is like a fucking battle tested, scarred face kind of record.
Yeah, that's another genre.
I could use one of those. I could use a 9-8 wild card. That'll really fucking get the juices flowing. I'll tell you what.
Listen, be careful what you wish for.
As long as it's wild card, I don't care.
But yeah, I was gonna say, like, kind of just looking at, and maybe mentioning this name on these airwaves is not great right now. But looking at some of the teams like Deshaun Watson is like talking about getting traded to, I think he could turn like any of them into a contender right now. So I feel like
Lamar, that actually makes me feel stupid because Deshaun Watson was lights out and they were 4-12. But they didn't have a top 25 defense. As long as you have a top 25 defense.
They didn't have good skill players either. Will Fuller was hurt. Their offensive line, not great. So listen, like the Texans are a fucking mess, like in and of itself, and he may well be a part of that. I guess we'll wait for the facts to come out. But
I think that is the level because the Texans had literally 31st or 32nd defense, and that's the cutoff. Give him a top 25 defense, and it literally doesn't matter because that's pretty much what the Ravens' fucking game plan is draft a bunch of young offensive players, have a kick-ass defense, and win at least 10, 11, 12 games.
Right. Clay, predictions on the amount of primetime games. This is his first question. I'm going to say 4 with the added game. I think they'll get 4.
Got 17.
Yeah. So I was thinking 3 with the 16. I think it's going to be
3. The NFL loves Lamar.
They do. Yeah. They've gotten more in recent years. I don't even blame them. Like,
how many were there last year? The Pittsburgh game was supposed to be on Thanksgiving, so we have to count that, of course.
Yeah, there were 4 or 5, right?
Then the Browns Monday night. There are a few, whatever. I can't remember all of them.
Cowboys was one.
Cowboys Thursday. Then there was at least one more. Chiefs Monday night.
Yeah. So
at least one more. I think it was actually 5. But anyway, yeah, I think 4. I think 3 is too little and 6 is too many. So either 4 or 5 again.
Yeah, it's it's a smaller market team that still matters to them for some reason. So
I think
whatever.
the combination of Lamar plus the black uniforms is like, all right, put the Ravens on primetime.
Yeah. He then says, is Ravens Twitter always this psychotic, or is it the Lamar effect? Combination of both, I think, but Lamar has definitely juiced it up. He's also brought in a younger kind of generation of kids that like treat social media way differently than like our generation even does, for example. So, it just kind of, that's how it goes with the passage of time, I think, to some extent. But yeah, Lamar, he's whipped up this fan base into a fever pitch, which, I would rather have that than like apathetic, like bad back late era Joe Flacco. Like, who gives a shit? They're going 9-7, like whatever. I'd rather have the just sort of the kind of the cauldron of craziness that we have right now, as opposed to just nothing.
This new wave of Ravens fans that is younger and kind of hype beastie on Lamar, whatever, they don't deserve a Super Bowl. I'm sorry. You don't deserve it yet with your actions. I know, because I was that way, very much so, when I was 15, 16, 17. And guess what, buckos? You guys are going to suffer some fucking pain and you'll get a Super Bowl sometime this decade.
I think it's fun. I love all their little like at names and stuff. It's cute.
It's the national effect of Lamar that has really driven the frenzy. I don't think we haven't really talked about Lamar that much, I feel like. So like this has been a nice little like 10 minutes on Lamar.
Yeah.
But he has caused such a stir in the national media that it has made Ravens fans insecure, I think, in ways. And and they are very reactive, whatever. I mean, the narratives around Lamar have just been a whole headache for going on 4 years now.
I think I will say that it started in the national media, and it started with some people that had some maybe not so smart opinions about him. So, if there's a little course correction, I'm okay with that.
Like literally the second they drafted him, there was a paradigm shift within this franchise, organization, and fan base. It was like, oh shit, the Ravens got Lamar Jackson. It was napalm for this.
I remember I tweeted the next day, my team is exciting.
Yeah.
Which was like an insane thing to think at the time.
Yeah, exactly.
So he then he has a third question: Godzilla or King Kong? No spoilers. I'm a Godzilla guy.
I've been watching them. I fell asleep halfway through Godzilla King of the Monsters last night. I watched Godzilla 2014. I watched Escape from Skull Island for the first time. I have to finish the Monsters Godzilla.
I've only seen 2014 Godzilla and the Peter Jackson King Kong, which I thought Peter Jackson King Kong is pretty good. Godzilla 2014, pretty good. I thought it was kind of disappointing at the time, though. But
it was pretty good.
Yeah, I expected more, which is kind of on me. There was not enough Bryan Cranston. I don't know like why he had to spoilers to like die so early. Because that guy that plays his son, Aaron Johnson, is like really just kind of a robot. So I don't know like how he got put in that role, and like some of the scripting was a little weird, but I don't know. I liked it.
I don't have high expectations of those movies, so I mean, I enjoyed it.
The trailer was so badass. That 2014 trailer.
The trailer for Godzilla was badass.
It was sick.
What do you expect?
It looked gritty and smart.
Of course, the trailer for Godzilla is badass.
Yeah, but it was like in kind of a subtle way. Like it wasn't. I don't know. But listen, George Bush. Like we won't get fooled again. But that was. I definitely got on that one.
You have to temper your expectations on those reiterated.
I was like 19 and it looks
stories. Sick. I mean, yeah, it is sick. That's the thing. It is sick, but you're like you can't focus on the details, like the artistic details of the plot and the acting in Godzilla movies. It's impractical, and if they're not getting A-list motherfuckers, like if it's not literally a top of the line shiny actor or actress, you're not gonna. Imagine if Chris Pratt was in that movie, how good it would have been.
Let me tell you something. People were probably saying this about superhero movies prior to 2005, and then guess what came out? Motherfucking Batman Begins. So I don't listen. Sorry.
With Christian Bale.
Yeah, sorry for holding these.
If Christian Bale was in that movie, it would be a 97 on Rotten Tomatoes.
Yeah, it would have been better, but sorry for holding.
If Christian Bale was in Godzilla, it would be incredible.
Better standards. Sorry for having high standards. My bad.
But you can't have high standards of Godzilla. Like you have.
I had never seen one. I did.
Gojira.
Listen, it was good. I liked it. just wanted a little more, a little bit of a different direction, but it's okay.
In the end, I think I'm eternally a Godzilla boy, but like this King Kong was pretty sick, and Escape from Skull Island was pretty sick.
Yeah, like I said, I've only seen the Peter Jackson King Kong, which came out like.
You should watch it. It's pretty good.
Yeah, I liked it at the time. Maybe check it out again.
No. There's a new one, Kong, Escape from Skull Island. That one.
Okay.
That's the preface for King Kong versus Godzilla.
All right. Well, if I don't get really good acting and like a really well written script, then I'm complaining to you about that.
Take your exact expectation, reduce your expectations, and you'll be blown away. Which is such an oxymoron of a statement, but
sounds like some conversations we've been having recently with one of our friends regarding the Ravens. Kalen, out of the 21 draft class, which prospect, regardless of position, was the best at making another teammate or teammates excel? For example, I'd say Ardarius Washington. I believe without Washington, Morig doesn't excel the way that he does. I think that's a good one to start with. Kind of lets him cover the top.
Like, I'm just gonna Ali McNeil.
Okay.
Like NC State's linebackers suck. I just wrote about it. I've been watching him. I'll go with someone else that's not of that position because we're going to get into that, but makes his teammates better.
Landon Dickerson. I mean, any Alabama receiver, Mac Jones, coming under a lot of fire recently for no fault of his own, I don't think, for all that.
I'm ruminating on this one. I think Kadarius Toney.
Okay.
Kadarius Toney is a banshee that he is getting the ball. He is commanding a lot of attention and is tough to bring down. Like he made life easier, I think, a lot of the time for Trask and for that entire Florida offense. I think Kadarius Toney is capable of elevating his teammates. People don't understand Tony, and we haven't gotten into the receivers yet. We will. We've been saving that as our favorite part of it towards the end of the Vive la Resistance. But people don't understand about Tony. He is a tough son of a bitch over the middle of the field. Like he will get whacked and bring the ball down. Him and Elijah Moore both. I think people know that about Elijah Moore a little better, but Tony is tough as nails. He is tough as they come. So I think
little Jarvis Landry vibes at times.
Yeah, that absolutely. Debo Samuel, Jarvis Landry. I think someone called him somewhere between Debo and Percy Harvin, and I don't hate that. He's not quite as fast as Percy Harvin. Percy Harvin is a very unique player, but having to tackle him, he consistently every time he has the ball is going to be a pain in the ass to tackle. If you come at him lazy, you're not tackling him. That elevates teammates. That tires out defenses, I think. That commands a lot of attention and just gasses teams, having to continuously battle this gritty, quick, explosive, twitchy individual.
Garnet, would you guys be fine with trading Orlando for the 13th overall pick from the Chargers? Not only would I be fine with it, I would like that.
Yeah, I'm fine with that for sure.
I feel like you're getting a really good return on investment there. Ravens burner. When scouting prospects, especially quarterback, how much do you think about the talent around them? I know Bama plays a tough schedule, but I'd be nervous drafting Jones just because of how stacked they were on offense.
Like Trey Lance looks like some sort of hybrid of Cam Newton and Lamar Jackson as a runner a little bit, but he's not. Like he would not be doing to the extent of what he did as a runner to Texas or to Oregon. I think he would still be able to run. Absolutely. I think he'll be able to run in the NFL. I think he's big and strong and fast and stuff, but level of competition, I mean, all that stuff. But if a guy has a clean pocket and puts a throw on the money, it doesn't matter who he's throwing it to, who he's playing. That kind of thing doesn't matter. So it just depends on different situations and different contexts. And like a running back, is he making precise cuts? Is he setting up second level blocks? Or is he just that's why I don't really love Travis Etienne, because he kind of just is a little faster than everyone. And I think that's going to go away. And that's why I like Najee Harris. Najee Harris is going to be setting guys up on the second level at Bama, in high school, in the NFL. So, our guys relying on things that are going to be lesser in the NFL. But then, I mean, it's kind of hard because Lamar Jackson, people would constantly say isn't going to be able to do what he did to NFL defenses, and he has done worse at times to NFL defenses. What he did against the Bengals on that freaking spin touchdown run, he did some crazy stuff at Louisville, but that might be the craziest thing he's done.
Yeah, just like scout the traits, like standing in the pocket, accuracy, and it's like it's not every single play is going to be wide open. Not every single play is going to be a completely clean pocket no matter what. And it kind of feels like like I said, Mac Jones is coming under fire from a lot of people for this kind of stuff. And I feel like, I don't know if people actually hold this opinion or if they're just coming after him because they're frustrated around some of the discourse around Justin Fields, which I think is bullshit in its own right. But like, let's all just calm down and just evaluate these guys for what they are. And like, if he deserves to have a couple points docked because, guys were wide open and he had like a good offensive line, then dock him those points. But like, let's not get too crazy here. Like, let's just evaluate the prospect.
The funny thing is like Zach Wilson's line was more dominant than Mac Jones's line was, like considering the competition. Like they played Coastal Carolina and BYU was, has several NFL caliber guys. And it's like, if a guy has a clean pocket, he has a clean pocket. Like you want to see what they can do out of a clean pocket. And that narrative for me for Mac Jones is bullshit. He took some fucking shots. I don't care what anyone says. Go watch the Michigan bowl game from 2019. He is standing tough in the pocket. He was not as great. He was not adept. He didn't have that offseason as QB1 and took some shots, delivered some balls. And Cassidy Higdon, a guy who's involved in Baltimore Beatdown, he's a Bama fan, and he was kind of saying at first, I don't know how I can deal with the pressure, blah, blah, blah. I'm telling you, this kid takes shots and delivers the football pretty well. So I don't like that narrative. Is he going to elevate a crappy offensive line? Maybe not. But, is Matt Ryan? No.
And Matt Ryan's had a hell of a career. Yeah.
And Matt Ryan, it took him some time and they had to get a damn good offensive line for him. So it's like, is he
same? Literally, people were saying the same things about Josh Allen too, or like maybe not the exact same thing. Like it was kind of the opposite. Like the NFL scouts were like arguing that he's going to be able to elevate when he gets to this next level because he's going to have help around him. And like some people I think understandably thought that was kind of ridiculous. Then it worked out. So it's like let's try to evaluate what a guy can do. Let's not worry about like, oh, well, he had this, so he can't do that. It's just like, there's too many absolutes being thrown around.
But yeah, you definitely do want to take into context. You also really need to try to dig, and it's tough being on the outside and not having, quite as much access, but you get it in parts here and there of what guys' real responsibilities and assignments were and understanding the level between a quarterback who might be making line calls at times in college versus a quarterback who isn't even, deciding what the cadence is going to be. That's predetermined in the play call and getting pulled in from the sideline. So those are things that are integral in quarterback play. And I think that's why teams seem to be, maybe it is lies and maybe Mac Jones ends up being drafted in the 29th pick or something, whatever. But if you're calling plays, if you're telling guys where they're supposed to be, if you go watch Bama film and someone is not where they're supposed to be, Mac Jones puts them there. And that's the kind of stuff that people don't tangibly understand about the game. And having a guy like that just to be able to run scout team in practice that is getting guys when you're trying to mimic another team and you have Mac Jones as your backup for a year and you see him consistently getting guys lined up and communicating through the assignments, that's what you want as a coach. That you want a player that's able to as a quarterback, you need to be able to know everyone's job and tell them where they're supposed to be, get them calm, get them under control. Like, you think Tom Brady isn't going to immediately call someone out who's not lined up right and get them right? Like, that's part of what makes him great.
Exactly. Zeke Batman, pick at 27. Bateman, Phillips, Marshall, Ojolari are all off the board. Elijah Moore, Vera Tucker, Morig, Russo, Owe. Let's just say they didn't sign another edge. Who are you taking? Trade back option there if you want to cop out. So I think he's saying of that second group, who would you take? So it's Elijah Moore, Elijah Vera Tucker, Trevon Morig, Greg Russo, Jason Owe.
Probably Elijah Moore. I like Elijah Moore.
Admittedly, I have not watched him yet.
I like Elijah Moore. Morig is good. Owe is a freak, whatever. Good run defender who has a lot of upside as a pass rusher. And then Vera Tucker, you can see, but he's probably playing guard, and I don't know.
I would take Vera Tucker. Trade back option there if you want to. I have no idea with trade back.
Yeah.
Just no idea. Ravens Burner says, how would you like to see the 17th game workout opponent wise? So I think he means as far as like, how would you like it to be factored every single year? So he follows up with some examples like just pick a random team every year or factor the previous year's schedule somehow or do a local rivalry thing.
It already is picked. It's you play a revolving door of the opposing conference. So the Ravens will always play a team that finishes in the same spot in their division as the Ravens finish in the AFC North. So if the Ravens finish first in the AFC North, they're going to play a division winner from the NFC. If the Ravens finish third in the AFC North, they're going to play a third place finisher, i.e. the Los Angeles Rams. Good Lord, St. Louis. Los Angeles Rams. That's why the Ravens are playing them this year, because the Rams finished third in the NFC West and the Ravens finished third in the AFC North. So that's already been decided.
Okay. That is all we had for Twitter.
Let's get through this. Instagram. How much money would you pay to be inside the war room on draft night as a spectator? Fiore Lucas asked. Yeah, I'd pay a good bit of money to do that.
Yeah, I think I would too. Actually, if anyone hasn't listened to my interview with John Feinstein, we actually chatted about him doing that exact thing in the 2004 draft. And it sounds like it was really fascinating. And I asked him a couple questions on it because I'm pretty interested in that topic as well. I think it's a pretty kind of cool spot where you got a lot of dudes that are paid a lot of money, that are under a lot of pressure in that exact moment. And there's moving parts that they can't predict. And it'll be fun to watch. So, yeah, a lot of money. 4 figures would be my starting point.
Faux show. G. Fritz. Whose farts are worse, Orlando Brown or the Big Baby? I think Brandon Williams has some.
Orlando's too like image conscious. I don't think he would really like want to be letting him fly.
Yeah, I think Brandon Williams thinks it's hilarious when he farts.
Yeah, like Orlando's are probably bad, but he probably like does a good job like hiding it. I feel like Big Baby is just kind of letting him rip.
There we go. Ryan J. Laurie, is it true they call you Jake the Nuke Luke due to your hitting of absolute bombs on the fairway?
Many people are calling me this. Yes, I'm also called the ultimate driving machine, a generational driver of the golf ball. Largely myself calling myself that. Nice. But yeah, it's probably the only aspect of my game that I'm confident in. So
there we go. Hell yeah. Fucking pump those bad boys out. Ryan J. Laurie as well. Who is the one that got away draft pick that the Ravens missed out on? Easy to think of Des Bryant immediately.
Him, Aaron Rodgers would be another one I would maybe look at. Who else?
That's a good one.
Aaron Rodgers is kind of tough though, because I feel like he probably wouldn't have been Aaron Rodgers.
A lot of people would probably say recently AJ Brown, DK Metcalf.
Yeah, definitely.
But I think
that would be a lot worse if Hollywood hadn't wound up being good.
Yeah. If it's like AJ Brown is an all-pro player, Hollywood is a Pro Bowl player, you could have done a lot worse.
Gronk.
Yeah, Gronk wasn't even on the Ravens draft board.
I have it on good authority that the Ravens tight ends that coached that year really wanted Jimmy Graham, and they did not get him.
Fayed. K-Brick 2. Are you prepared to take another edge defender with the first round pick? It's a big need. Yeah, I think a lot of people are expecting that to be the case. It certainly is a big need. And they haven't taken a first round edge since Sizzle.
Yeah, I would say yes, but I think we had this discussion. If it comes down to that or an offensive playmaker in the form of a pass catcher, I think I know what I'm choosing.
Tyler Janowitz, my boy from high school. De'Ami Brown, first round talent, or do we trade back to get him in the second round? I've been having a tough time with his evaluation. He has the same Phil Luongo, same offensive coordinator that AJ Brown and DK Metcalf had at Mississippi, and he plays that DK Metcalf role. He runs 3 routes. I think that he can run more than 3 routes. I don't think that's a problem, but De'Ami Brown is like, he has a little Travis Taylor to him. Like, he will make spectacular catches at times. He'll drop some really easy balls. He'll make some nice shoestring catches and then really have some greased hands. I have a Nelson Aguilar comp for him as an NFL player. Nelson Aguilar didn't have any sort of drop issues in college, but I don't think De'Ami Brown is like a really natural hands catcher, but he's super physical. He's tough after the catch. He's a great vertical threat, understands how to manipulate coverage a little bit so he can go deep. I've also seen some Mike Wallace comps for him. I like Nelson Aguilar, but Yeah, I mean, if they traded back a little bit, 5 picks, whatever, and you get De'Ami Brown, I understand why. I'm not done evaluating him yet, though.
Yeah, I really haven't watched him yet, which is probably on me. I've only really seen him when I watch Daz. So yeah, I'll check him out soon.
There you go. Adam Jones 357. Can't really picture in my head Tony or Marshall as Ravens. They'd probably bust with us. Pause. Can't really picture Tony or Marshall. I can see Kadarius Toney. I can see it.
Yeah, I think there's maybe a Rashad Perryman kind of concern with Terrace Marshall. But Kadarius, I don't see what there isn't to see. Like, the guy's a badass receiver. I think you see like a small, fast guy and you think, Travis Taylor, Hollywood Brown 2.0. I feel like he's way better than, people are giving him credit for.
I think so too. Block 1134. Are the Ravens ever going to trade Baby Zeus? I think it's sneaking up on us. We said that we thought he'd be gone a month ago, but I think it's sneaking up. I think the Ravens have been mulling offers.
Well-connected guy with the Chargers, Daniel Popper, was actually kind of tweeting some speculation that maybe they're holding on to salary cap space to do exactly that. So who knows, man? We'll see.
That would make sense. I think the Ravens have really been being patient, seeing if the offers get better, and they're willing to let him go for that 3rd round comp pick next year. Is not the end of the world if that happens. Coach Davis 4. How many games are you going to in person if M&T is at full capacity? I'll be going to all 9, big boy.
Yeah, probably a couple for me. I'll probably be vaccinated by then. So yeah, I would think 3 would probably be my number.
There we go. Z Zoller. Trade up in the draft due to limited roster spots? If so, where and for who?
Due to limited roster spots.
I don't think they have a lot of room on their roster. I really don't. Me and Dan Reese on Twitter, we're looking at it. They need a couple edges. They need a tackle. They just re-signed LJ Fort, which I'm pumped about. Maybe a center, maybe a receiver. They've got I think they have 5-6 spots where it's all right, they need somebody. There's going to be, if they draft 7 guys, there's going to be some big time cuts. Injuries do happen, but
that's never precluded them though. I feel like we've said this before. I remember in 2016, they drafted 13 guys and I was like, geez, they're not going to be able to fit all these guys on the roster. Why do they keep doing this?
Yeah, and then
I'm not saying
7 of them don't end up doing anything.
Yeah, I might prefer them to trade up, honestly.
The Packers drafted 13 players last year, and literally none of them did anything.
Yeah,
AJ Dillon will probably do some damage in the coming. Packers are so weird, but yeah. Nico LaFera 98. What should we expect from Greg Roman this season? Will he adjust in the pass game? I don't think he's going to adjust much. I think Roman has a very core philosophy. I think his run game is that flubber capacity where they can run any concept, any way, anywhere. And then he likes to have a vertical play action, aggressive offense over top. The Ravens they increased their screens by almost 50% from 5% to a little over 7% last year. I don't think we're going to see that be where I would like it to be at around 10, 11, 12%. I think screens would help this offense a lot. More jet sweep passes, more jet sweeps, things like that. But I don't think they're going to see a bunch of different stuff. I just hope that the play sequencing is a little better. I hope they utilize some more logical concepts more frequently, where you're getting the ball in the hands of guys that aren't Lamar to take pressure off of Lamar, whether it's Hollywood, Duvernay, Watkins, Dobbins, Edwards, getting them the ball in space more like we saw against the Titans in that wild card game.
I think we are going to see some different stuff from him. And I think it's probably, I don't know if it's going to be him sitting down in the lab and saying okay, we need to really drastically change something. But you got 2 fresh new minds in Keith Williams and T. Martin. So I think that's probably going to factor in a little bit here. With them ostensibly taking over that David Culley role. I feel like they're going to bring some fresh ideas, maybe help him spruce things up a bit. I wouldn't expect anything crazy different. And frankly, as much as Ravens fans love to bitch about Greg Roman, I wouldn't want that myself personally.
I think the biggest difference could be that like the receivers are a year older, Lamar's a year older, so they can use more elaborate concepts within the playbook and feel more comfortable using them in a higher volume because they might trust guys to execute them a little more.
And they'll be better too. Like you already got better with Sammy Watkins. You got better with Zeitler. You know, Josh Oliver is intriguing. You have a draft to go. Like they're going to be better talent-wise.
Plus a draft, yeah. I think the offense will be better talent-wise. I agree. Tyrod D, to Mega Tough Scene. Do you think losing LJ Fort will make a bigger impact than most people think? Well, guess what? We never have to find out because he's back, mother lovers.
Tweet out the Wolf of Wall Street clip. Has anyone tweet? Have you heard of this movie? This Wolf of Wall Street, the scene where he says, "I'm not fucking leaving." Nobody ever talks about it.
Nobody ever talks about it. Quentin Pearson is my best guess. No vowels in there. What's a better use for our first round pick? A plug and play offensive lineman or a wide receiver that can contribute this year? Honestly, first round pick. If they're going to start and be okay, like if I know that they're going to be a decent level starter, like if you're going to have Tevin Jenkins for a year at guard or something and then kick him to tackle, I think offensive line. I think having a brick shithouse offensive line makes Lamar's life very easy.
Yeah, I think there's an argument to be made for that. And like, it's kind of, I do get a little annoyed with like using past precedent as just like absolute scripture. So like saying that if they did that, then it will be 2019 all over again. So I would like to still see them invest in weapons. I would personally probably say receiver because they've made all these picks on interior offensive line. At a certain point, you kind of got to see what you got, especially with the fact that you already
not in the first round and since Ben Grubbs.
Listen, I agree. But you know, Marshall Yana found the third round. So you gotta start giving these guys some shots, especially like Ben Bredesen. People seem to really like him. So yeah, maybe give some of those guys some shots, and let's keep. I hate to sound like a broken record with the receiver thing, but let's get that figured out.
Boss Hoss 00. Shots on me next time you're in OC. Love living here, but no sports radio sucks. You two rock. There is no sports radio in Ocean City. It does stink, but that's the only thing that stinks. We love you, Boss Hoss. We love Ocean City.
Yeah, we certainly do. I was down there a couple weeks ago for St. Patty's. Got plenty of friends that still live in the area after going to college near down there. So yeah, love me some OC.
B Rose 931 went fired off a clip of questions.
He just emptied the clip.
Oh my God, he went gratata. B Rose 931 best IPAs in the Baltimore region ? Jake's got the Manor Hill IPA.
One of my favorite beers, and like I didn't know about it until a couple of years ago when I went to the Manor Hill Tavern in Old Ellicott City. Really nice, quaint little old tavern style restaurant, which you should check out. And their brewery, they make the Manor Hill IPA. I love it. You can find it at pretty much any local packy. I'd recommend it if you hadn't had it yet because it's really good. One of my favorite local beers. One of my favorite beers in general. And we're also both Dogfish boys. I know that.
Dogfish boys. B Rose 931. What would have to happen for EDC to trade up in round one? I think he's got to be a little drunk. But it shouldn't take that. Like, come on, like let's get a little drunk. What does EDC drink? Red wine.
Get a couple of sniffs of red wine in me. Little snifta of Merlot. Trading up to go get Rashad Bateman.
I used to be heavy into Jameson.
Yeah,
Jameson Hensley. Jameson Hensley and Hennessy.
Yeah, I mixed it with this
at the club.
Mixed it with a club with some Jack and Coke. I called it a Judon, and it was not very well received. But we don't have to talk about those days. He's probably mixing them with Coca-Cola, right?
I think that a player just really has to drop, and it is like unscrupulously egregious.
Listen how he bitched about not having a second round pick 2 years ago. It's like the guy just loves his draft picks, man.
He loves those day two picks for sure. If CeeDee Lamb was another 3 picks, like he might be a Raven right now. But he was at 17, which CeeDee Lamb slipped a bit, but he didn't slip a bunch. I think there has to be someone that really is just slipping.
If a player starts to slip and the Cowboys are like within striking distance, you got to get your ass up and moving because those fuckers,
a wide receiver specifically.
Yeah, if a wide receiver starts to fall, then you got to pull the trigger and make it happen. Because I'm tired of fucking grinning Jerry sitting up in his war room, clapping everyone on the back, just having a grand old time with all the fun players that they get. Figure it out.
Matthias the Great. How much input do you think LJ8 has on the draft? He did ask for Hollywood Brown in 2019.
Probably a little bit. I mean, like he did ask for Hollywood. He talked about Jerry Jeudy too. It sounds like he's in their ear a little bit, and of course they're going to consider that. You don't want to consider it too much though, to the point where you have Joe Flacco handpicking Tandon Doss. There's got to be a little bit of a.
That was like they asked him which late round receiver do you like though. It wasn't like who should we draft in the first round.
One of the funniest things though to me, because like Joe Flacco is not watching college football. Like he definitely just like was getting ready to like go to a barbecue or something, and like, there was an Indiana game on in Tandon.
No, I'm pretty sure they gave him. I'm pretty sure they gave him a list of guys, and we're like, which one of these ones do you want? And I don't know.
He's like, oh yeah, I saw that guy make a catch one time when I was walking out the door.
I'm pretty sure you can go through in your tablet and access College All 22 the same way you access the Ravens film. Like I'm pretty sure they can do that. I don't know.
I'm trying to do a Joe Flacco bit here, but if it's not going to be well received, then we don't have to. We can just talk about this practically if you want.
All right, go ahead.
No, it's out there. It's fine. It didn't land. I'll accept that.
I think Joe really tried to be like a little GM. That's my bit, though. I think he tried to like think. Joe probably thinks he can fucking pick him. That's what I think.
I mean, the guy clearly doesn't give one flying fuck what people think about him. So like that wouldn't shock me if he like thought he could do that.
Him and Eli Manning, man, they really are just like. I can't wait for retired Joe is going to be pretty sweet. Maybe not quite.
Why is he still playing? The guy just loves football.
He's making millions, man. He's making millions.
He's making million. Well, I guess 3 million this year.
Yeah. WB Caps, best couch napping TV programming, sports or otherwise. For me, personally, I actually have one show that I have never watched, but I'm on like season 6 of it. I've never watched it. I can't tell you any of the characters' names. I put it on to go to sleep. It's called like Halt and Fire, Cease, Halt and Fire on
Halt and Catch Fire.
Halt and Catch Fire on Netflix. I put that on. Back in my high school days, the boy used to come home and watch Everybody Loves Raymond.
Robert, yeah, no, Halt and Catch Fire is good. I have been meaning.
No, it's not.
No, the first season apparently is like kind of mediocre, which I was thinking that like the vibes were good, and then I looked it up, and apparently it gets like really, really well received for the next 3 seasons. It runs for 4. So I really like that kind of whole like early 80s tech thing. Some of the characters are cool in season 1. It's not great, but like I'm trying to just push through it and get to that second season, which is supposed to be great.
Well, that's what I go sleepy to. Everybody Loves Raymond was my nap show.
That's a really good nap show because it's just kind of
it was on when I got home from school and I would just lay down in the Shea Lounge. It's a very quiet show. It's very calm. Like there's not a lot of noise other than
the stakes are not what you would call high, and everybody.
Yes. It's a low pressure environment.
It's Ray like trying to get like published in ESPN and like trying to get laid by Deborah, and like Robert is just like struggling, and it's like what's going on here with Robert, and like the parents are like maybe the most angst inducing like aspect of the show. But other than that, yeah, it's good. I like Everybody Loves Raymond. Golf is the sport to fall asleep to if you're looking for one. So that's good. And not to fall asleep to, but I have been watching Justified recently. So if you're looking for a suggestion, that's one who watch Justified with Tim Thiel.
Justified. B-Rose 931. Why do some Ravens fans on Twitter act like Prochet is the second coming of Jerry Rice?
I don't know, but I love it, to be honest.
It's incredible. If Prochet doesn't have 80 receptions, 1,000 yards in one of the next 2 seasons, y'all going to have some splaining to do.
No, they're not, because he's not getting utilized, man. How does Greg Roman not see this?
Greg Roman!
Tweet a highlight of him making a catch at SMU. It's like, all right, guys, we know you're just trying to get engagement. Like, you can relax a little bit. Like
Harms Jr. Wide receivers over D-line?
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. Like, listen, I hate to keep going to the well, but the answer is yes. Sorry, Ravens, if you don't agree with me, but you're wrong.
B-Rose 931.
He's letting the Choppa sing tonight, man. Jesus.
Brah. Do we have any evidence that Jalen Ferguson could break out next year? Jalen Ferguson needs to play 5 tech, not edge. That is that's my theory. And he's a sub-package rusher. He's really good at. He's not great at holding the edge or identifying when there's any sort of misdirection coming. I think he needs LASIK. I think he needs that Jameis Winston Boy's got some Coke bottle lenses, but I think he's a tough-ass run defender. He's got that bull rush going, doesn't have a ton else. I'm going to go back and watch some of his snaps again, but I think he's probably got something going. He seems pretty low-key, like a professional, like he really concentrates on football. Ravens usually get guys going year 3, year 4. Hate to look to rely on that to be the case, but I think he's going to be a solid piece. I think he's a nice role player. I don't know. He's not going to be a 15 sack guy ever.
Yeah, I agree with that. And like the only evidence that I would point to is like all the guys that have preceded him that have basically been quiet for like a year, like 2 or
Paul
3
Kruger.
Yeah, and then like figured it out at the very least.
They know how to get guys figured out. Bureau's 931. Does Bowser exceed 7 sacks next year? I'm going to go with on the money, 7 sacks.
I want to say 6. I'm going to go under. 7
sacks for Bowser. Hardar Swami. Is Ojulari going to fall to 27? I don't know. He's super young. He is like the things that John Harbaugh loves. He was the first Kirby Smart at Georgia freshman captain. He was the 2019 weight room strength and conditioning program player of the year, I think, for the entire Georgia athletic program. And he's very durable. He plays the run well. So I don't know, but I feel like Mike Vrabel might like that. Like, I don't, there's some teams in the 20s. I'm going to say no. I think 3 rushers go before the Ravens. I think it's Ojulari, Pay, and Phillips.
I could see it.
I could see it. Alex Mearman, which high draft pick do you guys think will end up being a bust? I'll phrase that as who needs a lot of work. Who is a you can. Like, you can get him to do this, or if he could.
Zach Wilson, I feel like, is boomer bust potential.
Yeah, I'm fucking all over that train. I wasn't even thinking quarterbacks because I don't think about them like that. I think because the Ravens don't need one. Yeah, fuck you, Zach Wilson.
Yeah, listen, we can get that out in the air right now. You're not big on our headband wearing friend there.
Not big on Zach Wilson.
Utah.
6 Subhan. 6 Subhan. Bateman or Marshall? Bateman. I'm not done yet. Bateman. I can't answer that yet. Probably Bateman. Alex Mearman. Do you guys think Bowser plays up to his extension, or does he just stay kind of average? I think that's some baloney. I think he hasn't played a ton of snaps, but I think he has been consistently better than average, and especially in coverage. I think he's one of the best coverage on-ball linebackers in the NFL. I think he was first in total points by SIS for on-ball linebackers, and he can rush the passer. He can play the run a bit. He's good in space. I think he got underpaid, so it's not like he's got some big ass contract that's like, oh my god, they paid Tyus Bowser so much. I think they underpaid him.
Yeah, I agree. I think that was a really good value signing. I think he was good last year, and like if all he is good this year, that's just fine. That's commensurate with what he's being paid.
B-Rose 931. What is the best case scenario for what the edge rush looks like next season? I'm going to say that the Ravens have either Melvin Ingram or Ryan Kerrigan. They have, best case is like they draft freaking Ojulari at 27 and also have Ryan Kerrigan and also get someone like Davion Nixon or Aleem McNeil or Levi Onwuzurike or, someone else in the defensive line that can rush a little bit. I think that would be the best case.
Yeah, sounds like a good best case.
That would be the best case. They sign someone and draft someone high would be the best case. Tyrod D. If Orlando doesn't get traded, do we draft a successor at right tackle on day 2? I think that they have to draft a tackle at least probably by the fourth round. I think one of the first 3 picks is going to be a tackle. The Ravens, dating back to Michael Orr, after Michael Orr, every tackle they've drafted over the last decade plus has been at least 6'5.5" or taller. Or taller than 6'5.5", pardon me, has had at least an 84-inch wingspan and at least 34-inch arms. The guys I think that have value in that area draft-wise potentially that meet that threshold, Stone Forsythe out of Florida, Spencer Brown out of Northern Iowa. Those 2. I think one of those 2 guys is going to be a Raven. That's my bold predicky.
Yeah, I think you kind of have to, because like even if he does stick around, like he's doing all this squawking, and then you're talking about a contract here. So either they trade him and they get something, or they don't and he walks anyway. You're probably going to need a plan in place.
And it'd be nice to have. It would be really nice to have someone like Stone Forsythe or Spencer Brown sitting for a year, maybe getting some limited reps, and then being able to take over after that redshirt year would be a sweet scenario to deal with Orlando Brown being gone.
For sure.
Joe Bokaninj JC, top 3 tailgate foods and worst Ravens April Fool's joke. Top 3 tailgate foods. I honestly like. I didn't like glizzies when I was young, but like if I see a tin full of hot dogs that are on like a white bun and they like look like they were cooked okay, like that's pretty exciting.
They're the best. They're like the easiest to kind of maneuver your way through a crowd with and kind of like eat quickly, I think. So I'm a glizzy.
I'll throw pigs in a blanket with hot dogs too.
Yeah, I'm a glizzy gladiator when it comes to tailgates. I love a glizzy at the turn on the golf course. Just a big glizzy guy.
I can fucking rock with some meatballs, with some little meatballs.
Yeah, those are good. The ones with the stick that you kind of like pull out of the crock pot, those are good.
For sure.
What
Burger,
else?
Wings, freaking.
You know what's sneaky?
I hate getting my hands messy with wings, but like I love eating them. Unless
it's boneless wings, and I could do a plastic fork, which is the superior way to eat them anyway. But we don't have to talk about that. Have you ever done like chili in the Doritos bag?
Oh, Fritos or Doritos?
Doritos. I mean, maybe Fritos, but
I think I've heard of Fritos, but that does sound good.
Yeah, that's sneaky a good tailgate thing. It's not very common, and it can get a little messy, but that's a good one.
Burger, little crabs, little like crab balls.
A burger is good, but it can't be too big. Like you need the right size one that you can just kind of one-hand it.
Yeah. Definitely like bigger than a slider, smaller than a burger. Like a slider plus is like awesome. Shrimp cocktail.
Shrimp, yeah, for sure.
Shrimp in there. Andrew MK, how are we gonna fuck it up this time?
What?
Andrew MK, how are we gonna fuck it up this time?
Fuck what up?
I think the draft.
Oh,
it's funny because the Ravens are like one of the best drafting teams recently and over the course of the franchise. But
yeah, that's where like I think it's fun with the fan base being so insane at times, but then other times it's like, hey, bud, like maybe let's smoke a little weed and chill out, like. That's like it's not that serious, bro. Like they're fine. Like, it's okay.
I mean, if they're gonna fuck it up, it's like when they fuck up, they actually made a better decision. Like Marlon Humphrey, like that was fucking up.
Yeah, like I was distraught when they picked Marlon Humphrey.
They did take Hayden Hurst over Lamar Jackson,
and then they took Lamar Jackson.
So that kind of worked out.
Turned into J.K. Dobbins.
We had the earlier question: players they passed on. What, Ridley and Moore? Was it both of them?
Yeah. Or was it Moore went in.
They traded. They could have drafted one, traded down. Then Moore went. Then they drafted Hurst. Then Ridley got picked. Is that what it is?
Yeah, I think they were in the teens, and I think Moore went like 23rd or something. So yeah, they probably could have had them both. I don't know. Like neither of them really moved the needle for me though. Like they're good.
Both move the needle for me. Ridley is dirty. Yeah, that's how they could fuck it up, I guess. Ryan Spolstra 31. Who is your favorite underrated prospect? I've already talked about the big fella, Godzilla, Liam McNeil. I like Janarius Robinson out of Florida State, the edge with pterodactyl arms and hits hard and sets the edge well and can rush the passer a bit. What else we got? Who's underrated? Safeties, no. Baron Browning was very underrated. Now he's like getting first round buzz. Jamin Davis has a lot of buzz. Underrated. Who else? I think Tryon. I think Hunter Long, very much so. Tight end out of Boston College. I feel like he's going to be a top 10 tight end, good pro for a long time. Able to be in line, able to play in the slot, can block better than most. Yeah, those are my guys right now that I would say are pretty underrated.
So wait, what was the question? I'm sorry.
Which prospects are very underrated right now? Who is your favorite underrated prospect? So out of those, my favorite, William Bradley King, I've talked about a bunch too. I think I've been on the William Bradley King train for a long time. I'm going to go with him. If he doesn't get drafted by the end of the 6th round, I I might denounce myself as knowing anything about football because no one fucking likes him. I can't imagine it being the 5th round and not picking him. Like I can't imagine any team not picking him in the 5th round.
Tryon, Wyatt Davis, and probably Tylan Wallace. I feel like people aren't really talking about. I love Tylan Wallace.
I still need to go watch more Tylan Wallace because he's been another tough one. Him and De'Ami Brown, I'm tough to love.
He doesn't separate as much as you would probably like. I think knowing what you enjoy, but he's just I don't know. I like what he brings to the table.
I don't know. He can like truck stick people. He's an interesting player. But Hamika Rashid too. That's another one. I talked about him back in the day. He had his pro day come in. He didn't have a good 3-cone, but he had a crazy good broad jump, long arms, and fast player, and would be an interesting depth guy. Chris Rumpf, Duke too. A lot of edges. I think there's a lot of underrated edges.
Okay.
There we go. And that does it for the mailbag, ladies and germs. Thank you very much.
Cool, man. Well, running about 65 minutes here. That was a nice, tight discussion. I very much enjoyed it.
I enjoyed it as well. Thank you guys for the mailbags. We appreciate it. We didn't have one for probably 2-3 weeks there, which I think was good. I think we're getting mailbag heavy. And
we like to move away from that, mix it up a little bit. We got very discussion heavy. RE free agency and all that. I feel like the free agency period is pretty much worn off at this point. So unless some sort of trade is made, probably not going to be like dicing that up too much. So, we'll keep bringing it. We got draft content on the way. Like I said, coming on Tuesday is going to be our defensive lineman episode of the big board. And we'll probably give you some updated standings as far as players that will be seeded into the bracket just before the draft. We're probably getting close. I mean, we only got 4 more of these things. Draft is in 4 weeks.
Yeah, something like that. We'll probably do like one. We'll probably throw like one player in that is like a quarterback or a running back or something that we don't want them to draft. Outside corner, something like that. Toss them in there. But that does it.
Yeah, that does it. Thank you guys for listening. We hope you guys have a great weekend here.
Very Merry Christmas.
Yeah. It is. It actually is already the weekend for your boy because I get Good Friday off inexplicably every year.
Hell yeah,
which is great. So got a tea time tomorrow, tea time on Saturday. It's gonna be a nice one for me. Hope it's a nice one for you guys. If you enjoyed what you heard, feel free to like and subscribe if you're on YouTube, and then also subscribe and leave us a review if you are listening on RSS. Also, follow us on social media. You can follow the show account at Podcast Beatdown on Twitter. You can follow me at Jake Luke. That is LOUQUE. Spencer is at Ravens4Dummies. That's the number 4. Follow us at Be More Beatdown on the main account and Baltimore_Beatdown on Instagram. Appreciate everyone tuning in, and we will talk to you again on Tuesday.
See ya.
Arrivederci.